What's going on, folks? It's been a while. How y'all been? It's Dan. This is Friday night. You know what that means. It's Hockey Stick Talk Nation. And it's a pretty special episode. We have Christopher Works. And if many of you don't know him, you will by the end of this. And it's just so happens we scheduled this on a great time because Christopher Works is a huge Washington Capitals fan. And we just had that big, huge milestone.
Yes. Very big milestone.
So we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about everything tonight. We got some news and everything. But as always, we have to give a big shout out to everyone who's popping in here with us on this wonderful Friday night. So we're going to start out with Matthew Pitsley is in the house. What's going on, Matthew? We have my good friend, and everyone else is a good friend, Mr. Dig It A, who added the A on his new channel. We have coming in here hot. We have Robert Pop Springs. Robert, you're going to have to watch WrestleMania to see if I make an appearance there. That's all I'm saying to you. We got Christopher Works. He's here with us. We got Sean Jedi Master in here with us. We got Budget Rips. We got Goza. We got Zach's Collections. Thank everybody for coming in tonight. We appreciate all you guys stopping in here tonight on this wonderful Friday night with me and Chris. And we'll just give a shout out to everyone who keeps popping in as we see them. But as always, we're going to pull up the slides and we're going to get right into this show like we do. No messing around. We got lots to talk about. Lots to go over. We got Christina Payne in the house. What's going on, Christina? Thank you for coming in here. Appreciate it. We have my good friend who I co-host with on Wednesday nights for sports trivia, Tim Incarnito Sports Cars. Go check us out on Wednesday nights. You could win stuff. Let's give a quick shout out to my channel sponsor. You all know, you all seen him on here, and that is Kai from Tsunami Sports Cards. Go hit him up on eBay if you're looking for those singles for your collection, which is now a lot cheaper than buying packs and all that other good stuff. That's the way to go. Go check them out and use the code DMHockey88 for 25% off your first order. And you can keep using that on every order as well. So go check it out. Use that code. Helps him out, and it's a great guy. So go check him out. And now we're going to dive right in. We're not wasting no time tonight. We're going to dive right into the hockey news. Everyone's favorite. So first on our agenda here, Christopher, we have Lindy Ruff earns his 900th victory over the Philadelphia Flyers. Good for Lindy, but bad for the Sabres. I think it's time for Lindy Ruff to get going.
The Sabres. He tried. I don't know if he's going to make it. I didn't think that was the best idea for them anyways, but it is what it is. So sorry, I'm gonna adjust.
I think Lindy Ruff's time for the NHL is over. He can't get a hold of the grips of the new NHL like some of these old coaches did, like John Tortorella and all these other coaches.
He's got an old school mentality. It kind of worked, but the problem is some of these younger players. He's got a lot of young players on the team. I think if he had some older vets on the team, it might not have been a big of a challenge for him. But that's me. That's my opinion. But I think he was a great coach. He's run his course. Maybe go hit the AHL, maybe be a scout, maybe be something else that move on up. But I think he was trying. He really tried hard for the Sabres, but just I don't know. Just didn't. This just wasn't there for him.
Shout out to Aaron, my good friend on Friday nights, who's on after me. Go check him out. Great live stream over there as well if you like card openings and everything.
Yup.
Great time over there. So go check him out. Next on our agenda, Brady left the game versus the Kings for precautionary reasons. So that could be a big blow to Ottawa coming into the playoffs if it's serious.
I didn't see because he just came back. Did he just come back and went back out or what? I didn't see what that was.
So yeah, I think it's like a
I missed
upper
that
lower
one,
body
but-
injury. I don't think it's anything too serious. I think he just tweaked something, so they took him out of the rest of the game just for precautionary reasons. He probably could have still played, but why risk it when you're going into the playoffs against Toronto?
Yeah, that's what's going to be a big game. It's going to be a hard hitting game. That's going to be a real because it's been a while since the two of them played in playoffs, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
And that's going to be a big one. There's going to be some serious hits, and they need his leadership. They need his physicality for the game, and his presence there is just undeniable. It's important. He's a morale boost and everything. So it'll be interesting if he's out more than one, if he's out any games or not, what'll happen.
Yeah, that battle for Ontario is going to be fun. That's going to be one that's going to be really fun to watch, and it's going to be a brutal one because Toronto also brought up Ryan Reeves, so there's going to be some physicality coming in this series.
I thought that was I noticed that he wasn't playing for a lot of games, and I was like, "What?" I didn't realize they had pulled him down, and I was like, "Oh, I thought he was injured," but then I saw he was playing, and then there was talk about him. They were basically holding him off for the playoffs, I guess, keep him from getting in trouble. I'm not sure, but he's definitely going to bring a presence to the game that's going to be where they need someone like Brady to maybe not take him on, but someone that's going to be able to hit like that.
Well, too, see if they wait to the playoffs, they get a longer roster to bring up. So that's why I think they threw him down there, so he had a longer.
Yeah.
So once they hit the playoffs, they can bring out more people on the roster and add them to the roster. But a quick fact, I don't know if you knew this, but when he got sent down, he actually had to wear a visor. So because of the new NHL rules, where he was grandfathered in, so he could still not wear the visor.
So is he going to have to?
No, he doesn't have to wear it in the NHL because he was part of that rule. But when he goes down to the AHL, he has to wear the visor.
I didn't know that. I didn't know he had to do that. That's pretty funny if they'll make him. They may, because I thought once they put a visor on, they're stuck. They can't, because like Ovi, which technically was allowed to play without a visor, but he put it on and now he can't have it because he's from that far enough back. But are they going to make him? He will still not be able to wear a visor in the playoffs.
So he's still allowed to not wear a visor because he's grandfathered in the NHL. It's only when he gets sent down to the AHL that he'll have to wear it.
Oh, okay. I wasn't exactly sure how that went, but
yes. Shout out to Maiden, Singularity Digital Art, for being in here. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
What's up, Maiden?
Our next agenda is Charlie McAvoy says the Four Nation face-off injury cost him his sanity.
I can see that. Same thing with I don't know if it's the same thing with Matthew Tkachuk, but he hasn't really been. I think they're scheduled. He's on the block to come back, but I don't. It's like the same thing. He's been out since then. McAvoy's been out since then too, hasn't he? Hasn't come back yet.
Yeah. No, McAvoy. Well, their season's done. I don't think he's going to come back for the rest of the season anyway.
Yeah, he wasn't back anyways.
I think a little bit of the Four Nations in there and a little bit of them trading away Marchand too has a little bit to do with it because they were a big part of that core as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that Four Nations really took a toll on a lot of players because you're not just playing for them, you're playing for your country. And that was probably one of the best things the NHL has done.
And I'm not saying it wasn't like odd, but it seemed like most of the U.S. players had more injuries than the Canadian team, the Canadian players, or the Swedish and the Finnish players. I know a couple of them did have Finnish. I think it was the Finnish players had some injuries, but not as much and as long lasting as some of the American players had, or the U.S. players had.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting to see next year. But yeah, I move on to number 4 here. Leaf Sands, you might want to cover your ears because Austin Matthews hasn't been the same this year. And will he perform in the playoffs? That's going to be the biggest question.
I can't remember his totals on his goal scoring this year, but he hasn't scored as many. He hasn't looked as, I don't know, I want to say as sharp. But he's had the chances. Just he seems off. He seems like there's like I don't know. I couldn't tell you what it is, but it looks like watching some of the Leafs games, he's. I don't know what is the best way to describe it, but he's just. It seems off. He's like his head's not in it. There's something maybe outside the game that's keeping him. He's not in it. The game. It seems like there's something that's distracting him.
I think, and this is just my opinion. I think he has injury, and it's worse than what we think, and he's trying to play through it, and I think it's going to hurt him long term.
Kind of like Tkachuk in 2 seasons ago for the Stanley Cup Final. He was hurt and played through it when he even said afterwards, maybe I shouldn't have played. I wasn't 100%. But even if you look at that, he wasn't 100%. He still was playing great. He just, I don't know. But if he is hiding an injury, I think he should have said something sooner and sat out for the last month of the season, maybe, or the last few games, and not gone for the points chase or gone for anything. You never know with these guys. They want to play. They want to be, some of these guys, they want to be out there every game to get every point, every thing, every shot. But there's a point in time you got to take a break.
Yep. So this will be interesting to follow, see how he does in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because that will really tell what's going on here as well. But yeah, so we'll move on to number 5 here, which is, this one could be scary. So the Panthers haven't been at full strength for some time now. And how scary are they going to be when they're at full strength? That is the biggest kicker. Because this team, if they're at full strength, the Stanley Cup is theirs.
There was, I noticed that because I follow a couple of the players, obviously, on the Panthers. But like you could see when Reinhart was out for a few games, Barkov was a couple games. Obviously, with Sam Bennett was out for a little bit. He came back in the last couple of games, and you could see a difference in the line, especially when him and Marchand were playing together. You can see it's crazy how good. You think you'd never hear that those two be on the same line together, but they play well together. And I think there's already the talk of Tkachuk coming back for the playoffs. He may not be the first game, but he may be back for the playoffs. And the supposed line is Tkachuk, Bennett, and Marchand, and that could be a scary line to come up against because you got 3 guys that are gonna hit. They're good for the breakaway. All 3 of them can go on a breakaway. All 3 of them got speed. All 3 of them got physicality. They've got the puck handling skills. They've got that knowledge to be in the right place, right time to get those. And the defense depends on who they pair them up with on the defense. They've got Panthers got a great defense, and if I don't know if Ekblad's coming back the first 2 games. I think his suspension still carries him into the 2nd or 3rd game of the playoffs, and I don't know how ready he's going to be playing, but that's they got a great defense too with a lot of you got Forsling, Puljujärvi, a couple of those other guys. They're just insane. They're quick. They're good. They're physical. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah. We got to shout out Dewey Thacker for coming in here. Thanks, Dewey. And We got my good friend, Ultimate Sports Cards, Brandon, for being here. Thanks for coming, Brandon. Appreciate you,
What's
buddy.
up?
Yeah, so this will be interesting to see the Panthers because, like I said, if they're healthy, this is going to be the team to beat. Because
Yeah.
that line of Marchand, Bennett, and Kachuk, not only do they have all those skills, but they're gritty, and that's what you need in the
Yes.
playoffs. You
And
need
then
those people that are going to grind out every little inch of play.
And same thing with because it seems like that's their first line, or the Barkov, Reinhardt, and Verhaeghe line can be the first line, and those two lines they can easily interchange to be the top line or the second line, and because you look at both lines and they're insane. They've got great skills. A lot of people said they're a team to beat if they're healthy. So, and it looks like they're going to get healthy just in time. So, which is, I feel for whoever's playing.
Yeah, we'll find out that a little bit later. Next thing on our dock is the Jets made two big signings. They signed Neil Pionk to a 6-year contract extension and Alex Iafallo to a 3-year contract extension as well. So that's going to be big for the Jets going into next season because there's two players that they don't really have to worry about.
Yeah, the Jets have been playing. They had a slip. They lost a few games. Were playing really up and down in the games, but the Jets are another one that for the West it looked like they can give Colorado or Dallas a run for the money on that side. I know they lost their last game of the season, but even though they lost, they still got the President's Trophy. There's always that. Is the President's Trophy really? Yeah, is it really good? There's teams that have won the President's Trophy and won the Stanley Cup. There's a number of them, but
as long as you don't touch it, that's the key.
Yeah. Don't touch any trophy. The only thing you touch is the Stanley Cup once you win it. But yeah, they look really good. They've got a lot of really good players. Hellebuck in goal has been, he's had a couple slips here and there, but he's been phenomenal. I think he's running for the league MVP. I can't argue with that. He's been great for the back line for them. There's been times that you can see the defense has faltered, and he's been there to save them. But yeah, those signings, that's definitely going to shore them up so that even if they don't have which I don't see them not going very far. I see them going maybe in the second round or easily going to the second round, but that gives them a good shot for next year. They've locked up their lines for next year.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be fun to see them in the playoffs as well. Number 7, we got Jason Robertson leaves the game versus the Preds with a lower body injury. And that could be a blow, but I'm still not worried if he's out because Dallas is Dallas.
Has been, yeah, there's always the talk of who won the trade deadline, the season at mid-season trades, and it's hard to say they won it, but they also trading Stankoven. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing his name right, but
Stankoven,
whatever, Stankoven, yeah, and trading him away, I was a little shocked, but when you pick up Rantanen, you go, okay, that's a pretty good pickup, but you already got, and then you look at some of the rest of the team, and they've been playing really well. Losing Robertson, it's a blow, but I don't think it's a major one. They've got enough people. I can't remember one of their guys' names now.
Why Johnson?
Yeah, Johnson. He's been picking up a lot of slack for when other people were out and hurt. He's been playing well, and it's definitely one of those teams that they can sneak up, and they've got the players to sneak up on people and cause some havoc in the playoffs because they've got the hitters, they've got the guys that can play, they can do for breakaways and all. So it'll be interesting.
Oh, scroll back here. clicked the wrong button here. So, yeah, next up we have McDavid becomes the fourth player with 800-point seasons.
I saw that the other day. I was actually looking at that, and the players, I was shocked to see. I was like, well, that seems like that's a little low. And after looking at the list and going through like records and stuff, I thought there would have been more players with 8 or 100-point seasons or more, but that's impressive. Not a certain Capitals number 8 impressive goal record, but
but this is 100 points, so this is all around points. So.
Yeah, all around points, and because I was shocked that I looked at Ovi. Ovi doesn't have that many. Ovi doesn't have, but I think he only has like 2 or 3. It doesn't have as many 100-point seasons as I thought he would, but that's why I was kind of shocked when I saw that stat that there was only 4. Like he was the 4th player to get that. So
this just shows you the kind of talent that McDavid has. Not only can he score, he can pass, he sees a puck, but he's always into that 100-point season. This is the second time in 2 years that he's 100 points.
Yeah,
maybe even the third time.
And then if it's funny, because I figured Draisaitl would be on there, or be one of those guys that would have that. He doesn't have it, but he's also like one of those players that if it wasn't for the two of them, either one of them wouldn't have the goals or assists that they have without each other on that team. So those two definitely are going to have. They've already cemented their place in hockey history. So they're just making it even. They're making that statue even bigger at the end of their career.
And then this one is one that I just found today, which I thought was really cool. Lane Hudson ties Larry Murphy for most assists by a rookie defenseman.
Really?
So this one was really cool to me because I don't know if anyone else has, because they never mentioned any other rookies tying Larry Murphy for most assists. So this one popped out really to me. So this one I thought was really cool because Lane Hudson's a great player. He's a small defenseman, but a really great player. And to tie with Larry Murphy, that's company all in its own.
Yeah, well, and the two things you said for a small defenseman, he's small, but there is someone I forget who the interview says, what'd you think of him? Because he's a defense, how his size, and he goes, he's a small, you'd have thought he was 8 foot tall the way he hits. So and that's impressive though. Of course, Larry Murphy being in the same stats as Larry Murphy, maybe he can get some more of them like fight stats at Larry Murphy.
We'll see about that. But I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I saw that. Cool. And then I don't have it on here, but I have to mention it because a good friend Brandon's here. And Gabriel Landeskog could be back for the first or second game of the playoffs for the Avalanche.
Yeah, I saw he was cleared I forget what the news story said. He was basically cleared from playing with the AHL. I don't remember what their AHL team is for the Avalanche.
I can't remember right now off my hand.
He was cleared where he won't be playing with them anymore because of his injury status or whatever that he has been, his rehabilitation status or whatever it is.
Yeah,
he doesn't need to play there, so he will be playing. Whether it's the first game is to be seen, but he will be back with the Avs for the playoffs.
Yes, that's right, Goza. Thank you for telling us the Eagles. But yeah, so those are some news from the hockey around the thing today. Go on to our next slide here, which is the Kitchener Ranger draft watch. So this is from season ending. The Rangers are actually in the second round of the playoffs right now. But from season ending, Cameron Reed finished with 67 games played, 14 goals, 40 assists, and 54 points for a defenseman. That is pretty good stats.
That is.
And he's draft eligible. So that will help him even if he keeps more points he keeps getting in the playoffs as well. And then Tanner Lane, the right winger, 67 games played, 13 goals, 40 assists, and 53 points. So not too bad. He's a winger.
Not too bad.
So
A winger.
the goals, you're going to see the goals down a little bit, but the assists more because I think he's more of a playmaker.
Yeah, he's
So
more of a pass.
So that's good. And then Lucas Romano, the center. This kid is going to be amazing, I think. 67 games played, 25 goals, 26 assists, 51 points. So seems like an all-around player, which is just amazing to see.
That's good.
So he can score, he can pass, and he can skate. And if you want to know more about these players, go check out my video where I sat down with Mike Fairwall, and we went over a little bit more about these players. So that's our Ranger slide. Next, we move into the YouTube Elites Hockey Pool. And we just wanted this finished up yesterday. So we want to congratulate the winner who won it all, and that's Dig It. So congratulations to Dig It.
Congrats,
good
Dig.
job on that. And then we have our runners up. So at second place, we have Ham Panthers Hockey Club. We have the Land Krakens, Julie Farnham. We have Slappy's Nuts is Spicy. We have Drinking at Dry's Bars. And I just want to congratulate everyone else in the league this year, and it was a fun time. So thanks, Commish. I know you're not here, but thank you for hosting that league, and it was a great time. So thank you for that. And if you guys want to join next year, reach out to Callie and Jordan and see if you can get on. Move on to our next one, and here we go. So here's the Stanley Cup bracket. This is how it's breaking down. So we have the Jets versus the Blues. We have the Stars versus the Avs. We have the Knights versus the Wild. We have the Kings versus the Oilers. We have the Caps versus the Canadiens. The Carolina Hurricanes versus the Devils. Toronto versus Senators. And we have Tampa Bay versus the Panthers. And what's going on, Nordy? Appreciate you coming. But so, my questions are here. Which series is going to be the most exciting? So we'll start with you, Christopher. So which series do you think is going to be the most exciting?
Well, since I'm a Caps fan, I gotta say the Caps are going to be the most exciting. No, honestly, I think the one that's going to be, or actually, I think there's two that are going to be really exciting. Personally, the Kings and Oilers. I almost want to say, really again. It seems like the Kings and Oilers are playing all the time in the playoffs. But I think that's going to be a good one. The Kings have been playing amazing recently. They've been scrappy recently. They have been feisty. They almost had a goalie fight with them a few weeks ago, which has been pretty cool. But damn refs. The Oilers he's been hot. He's been hot and cold. So that'll be interesting. But the last 2 years, he's been on fire for the playoffs. So that'll be a big one. But that's going to be a really good one. I think it's going to be a tough one. I can't say who's going to win, but I'd like to see the Kings, but I have a feeling it's probably going to be the Oilers coming through on that one. The other one I really think is going to be a good one is the Dallas and Colorado. That is going to be. I think that's going to be the one that's going to go 7 games and going to be some overtimes. I could not tell you who's going to win that one though. That's going to be a tough one. I think that Rantanen is going to get. He's going to either have something to prove and really going to want to run it up and do something, saying, "Hey, why'd you let me go? Why didn't you just, give me the contract I wanted or something?" Or it's going to be. The Avs are going to just say we're fine without you, and I'm not sure, but I think that's going to be one of the better ones, one of the scrappier ones. It's going to go to 7 games, and it's going to be some overtime games in there. That's my opinion on that one. The other side of the board. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no. So for me, the most exciting series, I think that's going to be on here, and it's probably one that no one's going to talk about. And that's Winnipeg and the Blues. That's going to be an exciting series because Binnington, since he played in the Four Nations Cup, has been lights out.
Yes,
And now you're going to
really
play
good.
Hellebuck, who played against Bennington in the Four Nations,
Yeah,
and
I
Hellebuck's
didn't
got
think.
something to prove.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's going to be that's going to be a battle of the goalies. That's probably going to be one of those ones that's either going to be really low scoring or there's going to be a couple blowout games. But you're right, that is going to be an interesting one. I didn't think about that. I forgot about the Bennington Hellebuck matchup because I think Hellebuck's going to want to prove something. I didn't think about that. That's a good one.
And
And I know
then yeah.
Go ahead.
Then the next one, and I think this is going to be a really good series, and could go either way, and that's Vegas and the Wild. Because this is Fleury's last year before he retires, so if Fleury gets in, he's going to want to go out on a high note.
True. I was a little shocked that because he hasn't been playing as many games as before. I see this. I could see the St. Louis. I don't know. That is gonna be a good one though. But I don't see for the Wild and Vegas. That's gonna be. I think it'll be a tough one. But I think I'm thinking if Fleury does play, it'll be interesting. I don't think he's gonna play the whole thing though. I don't see him playing the whole series, the whole playoffs. I think he's going to be the backup, maybe put him in for 1 or 2 games here and there.
I think it's going to depend on how Gustafsson starts.
Yeah, because Gustafsson can be lights out, or he can be just flopping and like a fish out of water, and just like I can't. But that'll be interesting.
And then, so now I just want to open up to the chat and see what the chat says is going to be their most exciting series. So while we wait for answers to that, what about who do you have on the east side? Which team's your most exciting over there?
Obviously the Leafs in Ottawa is going to be a big one. That's going to be, as we kind of said before, that was going to be a scrappy one. That's going to be interesting. Depends on how Matthews plays. Depends on if Brady's, if it was just one of those things where he got hit and it's like, oh, that doesn't feel right. Let me sit out for a little bit, the rest of it. And he's actually comes back and he's fine. It's going to be, I think that's going to be one of those ones that's either going to be, I hate saying it, it's either going to be a blowout and Toronto's just going to walk over Ottawa, or it's going to be a back and forth and it's going to come down to a game 7. Florida is going to be a good one. I think Florida is going to be a good series too. The Florida battle, that's always been, they played each other, I think, what is it, the last 2 or 3 Stanley Cup playoffs?
Yeah.
They've played against each other, something like that. And Tampa got the best of them, and then Florida got the best of them. I think, like we said earlier, if Florida is healthy, they're going to be scary. I don't think Tampa the Lightning are going to, if, like you said, if the Panthers are healthy, it's going to be a tough team to beat.
To me, that series is great because you have 2 of the best head coaches in the NHL right now, in John Cooper and Paul Maurice.
I like to argue and say that the Caps have one of the best coaches, but he's young. He's still got something. I don't think that's a whole nother story there. Carberry's he's a good coach. He's got a lot out of the players that he's got, but Florida is the battle. I think that's almost going to be the battle of Florida. The Sunshine State is going to be a good one though. There's 2 good teams, 2 good coaching staffs. It'll be a good one.
Yeah, so that'll be good. And I think one series that I'm looking forward to, and I think it's going to be a blowout, and that's going to be Carolina and the Devils. And I think Carolina is going to run all over the Devils.
That's going to be a 4-and-out.
Yeah.
It's going to be 4 straight games for Carolina. I don't see New Jersey. They have been so wishy-washy all season. I was surprised that they did as well as they did, but I don't see them. New Jersey's going to be, they're going to be out 4 and out. I know a lot of people are going to say, no, the Jersey's going to put up. No, they're going to be 4 and out. I hate to say it, but they're over their head. They're in over their heads on this one.
And I know Goza is in the chat, and I know he's rooting for the Devils. So Goza, I'm sorry, but they're going out in 4.
Yeah,
because Goza, if you don't know, is a huge New Jersey Devils fan. Don't let it fool you that he thinks he's a Rangers fan.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, so that's most exciting for me and Chris and you guys to watch. But now, Stanley Cup prediction: who's going to take home the cup? One team. Who you got taking home the cup?
I want to say Washington, but that's the last since Ovi scored, got his record. They've looked flat. They've looked like they were their energy level went. But I think they might, because I think it was one of those sigh of relief things, and they kind of said, you know what, we were already in the playoffs, we're already doing this, no big deal, we've got the number 1 spot. But I don't know, but if it's not, it's at the other end of the table, it's going to be either, my opinion, and this could be wrong, and everybody else is going to say, yeah, I'm wrong, it's either going to be Florida or the Capitals. It's going to be Tampa or Panthers or the Capitals, one of those two. But I want the Caps. I want the Caps. But
so I'm going out on a limb here, and for my prediction, I have the Oilers going to the Cup Finals and winning it.
Oh.
And here's my reason why. McDavid got a taste of the finals last year, and you can bet that he has a sore taste in his mouth. And we're going to see a meaner, a stronger, a McDavid we never seen before come into these playoffs. And that's why I think McDavid and the Oilers are going to win that cup this year.
That's it. I'm not going to argue on that one. I was seeing it as going down to, this is my final 4, was going to be either Winnipeg, Oilers, Caps, and Panthers. It's just so happens that it's the 4 corners of the bracket coming straight in, but that's my opinion. And then it's going to go down. But if it's the Oilers and the Oilers against, it would be interesting to see the Oilers and Panthers again. That would be neat. But that's a good one. The Oilers do have something to prove. They do have something to say, hey, it wasn't just a fluke. We're going to get back here.
Just a quick shout to Fire Brock's Breaks for coming in, and CCB. CCB, sorry, but your Leafs are going to get run out of town by the Senators. It's going to happen. Sorry, bud. So that's our Stanley Cup predictions. What about Dark Horse team? Who you have as a Dark Horse team in all this?
Oddly enough, it's the one the Caps are playing, the Canadiens. They have been on fire the last couple weeks. The past month, they've been really good. They've been looking really good. I think the Canadiens, or my other one, it's the Kings. Those are my 2 dark horse. The Canadiens or the Kings, which I don't see them doing it, but those are the 2 that, if there's going to be a team to come out of nowhere, it's going to be one of those 2.
Nice. Mine, I have the Blues, and I have the Carolina Hurricanes.
The Hurricanes are a tough one. They're going to be, I think they've got a little something to prove because they keep making it pretty far into the they keep getting knocked out. I think when they went up against the Panthers, it was last year, they got a little surprised and got run out real quick. But I think they're back. They're gonna come back for they're a tough one in the playoffs. They don't you typically roll over. They're gonna be a tough one. That'll be an interesting one.
To me, I have St. Louis just for the plain fact that since the Four Nations, Bennington's been on fire. And if you look at last time St. Louis went to the Stanley Cup Finals, it was Jordan Binnington that carried them there.
Yes.
And now the St. Louis Blues have a lot of younger talent that are leading. And this will be interesting to see how this team really does, especially the first matchup against the Jets, because they're both kind of younger teams now.
Yeah.
The Jets have some veterans and the Blues have some veterans, but it's going to be a battle of the two goalies who are two really good goalies right now. So that's why. And then Carolina, I think everyone's overlooking them, but the addition of Logan Stankoven and kind of changing up that big three there, I think really energized this team, and it's Broad Rendemore's team. You always gotta watch out for Broad Rendemore's teams.
He's I never overlooked the the Canes. They are always a team that they're feisty. They've got some bite to them. They're feisty. They've got lots of really good talent, young talent. I don't say young, some of it's young, mid. They got a nice good mix of veterans, older veterans, mid-career veterans, and a lot of good young talent in there that they pick. They keep picking. They always pick up someone young every season, so they are a good one.
So now we have the fan favorite team. So if you were just a fan of hockey, not your favorite team, as a fan, just of general hockey, who would be your fan favorite looking at these teams?
Fan favorite, just a hockey fan favorite. I'd like to see, knowing hockey, not picking a team, it would be one of those neat ones to see the playoffs, the Stanley Cup final coming down to the Washington Capitals and Minnesota Wild, and seeing Ovi and Fleury going against each other again. I would like to see that one. And honestly, I think that would be the Wild would seem to be a neat one to maybe just sneak in there, and as a fan favorite, as entertainment, just as a hockey, hey, this is the neat one. That'd be something neat to see.
Nice, that's a good one. To me, it would have to be the Kings.
Kings
fan favorite. Quentin Byfield, amazing player, very underrated, and I think gets lost in LA a little bit. Doesn't really kind of get the limelight, and he has turned into this wonderful hockey player for the Kings. And by wonderful, I mean wonderful. And then Lafreniere too on the Kings. They are set.
They've got a lot of. They are an underrated team. They've got kind of like I said. It's always the Kings and Oilers. They've got a lot of good vets. They've got really good. Their goalies situation is they've got good goalies. Because for one, former Caps, kind of was shocked to see him leave, but also we picked up good goalies too. But they've got good goalies, like you say. They've got Byfield, who's very underrated. I think he is become, like you say, an amazing player. Anytime you watch, you don't even have to watch, just listen into the games, because a lot of times that's all I do. I just listen to them while I'm doing something, and you hear his name's always, especially for the Kings games. Anytime there's something going on, there's an attack. His name's in there every time. He's always getting the puck. He's doing something with it and he's a threat, and that I can see that one.
And then next, I think we're all going to be unanimous here for this one, and that is the most hated team on this list. What is the most hated team on this list?
I'd say that I know I'm gonna get some flack on this one, but the Leafs, personally.
Definitely. I'd say the most hated teams on this list are probably a tie between Vegas Golden Knights and the Toronto Maple Leafs as two of the most hated teams.
As I jokingly, when opening packs and I pull a certain former Buffalo player, I always say he who shall not be named by Sabres fans, because everybody, I guarantee every Sabres fan is going to go, no, Vegas. But I don't know. But the Leafs, everybody loves to hate the Leafs. It's kind of like everybody loves to hate certain players. There's certain players everybody loves to hate, whether but the Leafs in Vegas, I think those are the two right there.
Yeah, those would. And then if you're a Rangers fan like me and Goza, the Devils are absolute garbage. So we don't even mention them because they're not even worth mentioning.
No.
But yeah, so that's that one. We'll move on to the next one here. And this is one we've all been waiting for. So on Sunday versus the Islanders,
Yep,
it's going to go down as a day in history as Ovi has broke the goal scoring record held by Gretzky with his 895 goal, which is a feat all in its own. If anybody's watched that game, that was a great game. And to see that celebration that's in the picture was a great celebration from him. I was kind of hoping he would have dropped the stick and did the fire one, but that's all just me. But
that was a good one. And anybody who says, "Oh, why did he die?" Dude, he even said it was just the emotions. I didn't know what because I just dove and just went with it. That was an amazing, and yes, it was kind of Ovi in his spot to where he scored it, but it wasn't his typical one-timer. It was more of not really a wrister, but it was kind of like that whole behind him, collect it and just rip it and just throw it right in there, and then the celebration was the icing on the cake on that one. It was that was the way he wanted it, and I think he got what he wanted, and then the fans got a good one.
What's going on, DK? Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. So now the question is going to be, will there be someone who breaks this record? And first, the first question. So are we going to see someone break this record? And to me, the answer is yes. And Leafs fans, you're probably going to like this, but I think it's going to be Austin Matthews. Because he's on pace right now.
Yeah, they were talking about that. He is he's the only one that's on pace to possibly do it. The biggest issue with him, biggest issue I see with anybody doing it, is staying healthy. But yeah, I think someone will break it. Austin Matthews is a good, and I even though I was talking to someone at work about it, and they looked at me and laughed and said, "Yeah, right, he can't do it." Like you say, he's on pace to do it. He's the only other player I can think of. Like McDavid could possibly do it if he got hot, like really hot every season. The next 3 or 4 seasons, if he got real hot. Draisaitl maybe, but I think the only other one they were talking about in one of the interviews that somebody was doing, it was one of the sportscasts. I don't want to say it was Rantanen, but it was someone along like Rantanen or who was it?
McKinnon?
McKinnon, yeah, I think it was McKinnon. I think they said McKinnon's possible if he could stay hot and stay healthy. And that was the big thing. Every single you gotta stick with it, is to stay healthy throughout the season. Because what is it? Ovi missed only 35 games, 36 games, something like that, out of almost 20 years. As the what is that? There's the website. The Russian machine never breaks. The website that was started basically off of that joke of his comment. I think Ovi, he's like, I don't stop. I just keep playing. That's the big thing, is to be able to stay healthy. But yeah, it's like Gretzky even said, records are made to be broken.
Yep.
He was, and people are like, aren't you mad about your record? He's like, no, records are made to be broken. He goes, I'm happy because I'll be excited to see whoever breaks it. And a case in point, you just look at him when he was at those games when he tied the record and he broke the record. He was more than happy to come out and congratulate him and say, this isn't an easy task, and I know because I did it, and you're doing it here. So I think it'll be broken. It's like I say, healthy player, healthy, consistent play.
And just shout out to Jace Mix for coming in. Thanks, Alex. So the next part of that question is, how many more seasons are left in Ovi? Because we already know that when he retires, he's going to go play in Russia.
Yeah.
So my biggest thing is he going to retire a little bit earlier so he can go play in Russia, or is he going? That's the biggest thing.
I saw an article and I was gonna try and read it. I like one of those things where I'm scrolling through the news and I saw it and I clicked on it to try and go back to read it, and then I either close the link or close the tab or something. But it was saying how the blurb on it was, is Ovi gonna stop? And he said something about, I'm not done. There's still more games left in me or something. So whether that means he's going to continue playing with the Caps for another season or two, I don't know. But it definitely, like you say, he's said he wants to go back and play in Russia when he gets to a certain point. Heck, the guy's 39 and he's still slamming people into the boards. So what is it? He's got the most 40 goal seasons. He's something like, I forget what it was. Not the most consecutive 40 goal season, but he's got the most 40. He's the only player to score. He beat Gretzky with the most 40 goal seasons or something like that recently. And I don't see him playing, but maybe 2 more years with the Caps, because he said he doesn't want to play with anybody else. He wants to end his time at the NHL with the Caps. And I see maybe 1 more year, or he pulls gets 900 and says I'm retiring and walks away and goes back to Russia.
It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, there's a lot of different sports guys. I've listened to a bunch of them talking about it, and some of them say they think after this season he's done, but I think it is going to be the 900. He's going to hit 900 and go, I'm done. So,
see, to me, my theory is, I think if he wins the Stanley Cup this year, he's done.
Yeah, I do think that too. That if he hits the Stanley Cup this year, he is definitely. I don't see a reason for. As much as I'd love to see him score 900 regular season goals, I do not see him coming back after. If he wins the Cup, he's not coming back.
Yeah. So then the next question is, what will be the final count for goals before he retires? So I have him. He's at, I think he's going to reach about 915.
He's at,
depending if he wins the Cup or not.
Yeah. If he wins the Cup, it's 897. We're going to be at 897. If he doesn't win the Cup, like I said, I could see him saying hitting 900 and going, I'm done, which means you get 3 more goals out of him. Kind of sucks, because if he's hot the first 3 games of the season, heck, he can do it in the first game of the season, score a hat trick, boom, be done. I don't know. I'm going to say if he goes out a whole season, 925. Maybe, I don't know.
But to me, also, there's a little superstition in players, so I could see him doing like 908 or 918 to round it out to his number.
if he did that, I would laugh. I would say, you know what, you there's no arguing with him. He could do it. If he wanted to, he goes to 908 and says, "I'm done," and walks away. I have no problem with that.
So that could be interesting to see.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be very interesting to see it come next season.
Mm-hmm.
And then last slide we have, well, one of the last ones, and this is, I just want to give a big shout out to the voice of the Rangers, because we say goodbye to one of the greatest announcers for the Rangers, and I wish him all the best in retirement. So thank you, Sam Rosen, for all the great memories you have given us Rangers fans, and all the best. So thank you, Sam Rosen. Appreciate it. Much deserved retirement. All the great calls you've had over the seasons. All the great calls against great teams, too, as well. This was a diehard Rangers fan, and you could hear it in his voice every time he announced a game. So, Goes, I know you're with me in this one, and we thank you, Sam.
Yeah, his voice, he will be missed. I'm as a Caps fan, the many Rangers Caps games I've listened to, I hear his voice, and I'm like, oh, man. But he will be, there's very few legendary voices left, and he'll be missed.
Yes, he will. But thank you, Sam Rosen. Appreciate you. And our last slide. And this is our guest. So make sure you go check out Christopher Works. There's his YouTube channel. Check him out. There's also him on Instagram. I put his Instagram there as well. So now we get into all the great fun parts of the show. We're already 56 minutes in. We're going a little bit longer tonight, but it'll be worth it. I assure you guys. So, Christopher, why don't you tell the chat? Some of them probably already know you, but why don't you tell them what you do, what your channel's all about?
My channel is mostly about me just sharing my love of collecting hockey cards, and a little bit of hockey, collecting hockey cards, and just in general, like trading cards, TC, like like Pokemon, Magic. Got into some other trading card games, but my big thing is I love hockey. I open up packs or sometimes I miss it. Things go on in life, that happens. Thursdays I do 3-pack Thursdays. It's usually hockey cards. I used to throw some other stuff in there now and then, but it's mostly just hockey. Usually try and go for hobby packs because I don't know, it's just what I do, what I like to do, try and do. And then on Sundays, kind of a little bit of play on words on that one for some pack Sundays. It's just a random number of packs. It's usually, I always throw some hockey cards in there, gotta open them a little bit on there, but it's usually a little bit of whatever I've got, a little bit baseball, trading card, like the TCGs. Recently I found some Formula One stuff, which kind of pretty cool looking. The Barry, what's up? Barry. A little bit of everything on my Sundays. I try and throw a little bit, even I've got some right here. Lego minifigures. I'll throw it's a pack. It's a pack. It may not be trading cards, but it's a pack. So I'll throw in a little something different every so often. It's just it's never a standard number of packs. I always do something, like I say, it's a kind of a play on words. Some pack, it's never going to be 4 packs. It's not going to be 5 packs. It could be 10 packs. Be whatever I decide. But that's just kind of what I do. And if those out there don't know, I am obviously a Capitals fan. If you didn't know that, big Washington fan. Been a Washington fan since I was about, I don't know. My first hockey game I ever went to, I think I was 12 or 13. And it was, oddly enough, it was a Rangers-Capitals game. So it was a Rangers-Capitals game that was my first game I ever went to. And I've just kind of been hooked ever since. Always enjoyed, I used to go to a lot of games when I was younger. Don't go to as many games as I would like to anymore because it's kind of, scheduling and life. When you're a teenager and you're early 20s, you have more disposable money to throw around and do whatever you want.
You don't buy
When you
food then.
yeah, you don't have responsibilities. It's like, Mom, I'm a little short on food. Can you pick me up a little extra? No. But yeah, I used to go to a lot more games. I always enjoyed going to live games. Some of the best games I've ever went to were always either Rangers and Caps games, or Philly and Caps games. Those were always hard hitting, always good games. It's sometimes they were blowouts, sometimes they weren't. But in the 90s, the Caps weren't always the best, but they did have some good seasons. We won't talk about the 98 Stanley Cup final. That was we went there. We'll just go and that. But yeah, that's kind of a little bit about me. Go like my background and why I'm a hockey guy, kind of a little bit of a hockey guy.
Just a quick shout out to Julie Farnham for stopping in. Thanks, Julie. Appreciate it.
Hey, Julie. Oh, and yeah, a big shout out to Julie. Julie is she's awesome for the community. She I just got a package of stuff from her not long ago, and oh my goodness, she blew it out of the park.
So here's your first question before you start going on any further. So Nordique wants to know, who's your favorite player or players from your childhood?
As a Caps fan, if some people say, "Oh, there's been a lot of really good ones." One of the ones I actually got to see, because it was one of the first games at Langway. The flowing mullety locks. He was one of my favorite players as a kid. Then it was time. Hatcher. I used to always liked him. Just thought he was a great player for the Caps. Then later on, I think two of my all-time favorites for the Caps have been Adam Oates and Peter Bondra. Those were kind of my two big favorites in the 90s that I followed. I thought those were two of my favorite. They were two of my favorite players. I think they just they were good all-around players. I don't know. I don't know really how to explain it. Bondra, when he was the rookie, he was the star. He was going to be he kind of was the face of the franchise for a while, because he was the star number one player, and they built a team around him. We did get to the finals with them, but like I say, we won't talk about that anymore.
CZB is trying to steal your thunder today, and he guessed one. Don't listen to him, though. But yeah, so a little bit about that. I saw a question up here, too, from Nordique about the Rangers. So, Dan, what are your thoughts on the Rangers season? What they need to return to the playoffs and compete? Nordique, I'm going to give you my honest opinion. The Rangers were terrible this year, and that is due to the GM Drury. I think Drury needs to go, and I think a lot of those Rangers players need to go. I am all for a rebuild right now. I'm even trade Shesterkin. As much as I hate to say it, trade him. But we have so much, and we have so much good talent right now in our farm system that's just going to waste. Just playing in the NHL that need to come up to the NHL. So I would really like to see a lot of these players go in the off season.
Yeah, I'm obviously not a Rangers fan, but I've followed them because the Caps and Rangers, not really a massive rivalry, but there's always like that when they play. There's always seems to be good games when they play. But the Rangers, you guys, they have such good young talent, and they traded some of them away. I didn't understand some of the trades. They had good. Granted, yes, there were some of the trades. Hedel, he had injury issues, but whenever he was in the lineup, he was always there. He was a playmaker. He was someone. Kako, he was another one that was injury prone. he not only injury prone, but he got injured, and it was out for one of the, I think it was 2 seasons or 2 ago. He's out for most of the season, but when he was in there, he was a playmaker. He was not a playmaker, but he was
the best.
there. Go ahead.
Yeah, the best years for Kako, and as much as I hate to say it, was under David Quinn when he had the kid line, Kako, Heedle, and Lafreniere. That was one of the best lines, and when that got broken up, it really hurt the 3 players.
And then you'd have who was it? There was you'd have was it not Fox? I forget who it was on the. They'd throw occasionally. Fox would be in, especially on the power play. They'd put those 3 in there, throw Fox, and then they would be. I don't want to say Keandre Miller, but it was someone else that was back there that would be mixed in with them, and they were especially on the power play. They were scary. They were. It's like, why did you break it up? And then. But in Lafreniere, you can see nothing. Lafreniere's had goods. He's had a pretty decent season this year, not the greatest, but you can see while he was playing with them, his points went up. When he wasn't with them, his points went down a little bit. He's been playing with mostly on
Panarin.
Fox's lot. Panarin, and he's been playing with Panarin and Fox, right?
Panarin and Trocheck.
Trocheck. Okay, sorry, Trocheck, and he's got his points, but I don't know. I thought I'm not a massive Lafreniere fan. When he was first drafted, everyone was like, "Oh, Lafreniere, he's going to be the big." What happened 2-3 years later? We have Bedard's another big one, but we'll just take some scissors and cut that.
Bedard is terrible. I called it, and everyone knew.
You did.
He is terrible.
But, like Lafreniere, he was over. I thought he was overrated. He came into the league at a bad time, in my opinion. I think if he'd have come in the league a year later, 2 years later, I think he would have been a much bigger impact. But just the way timing and the things happen going on in the world. But I think Lafreniere's he's not a bust. There's some people saying he was a bust. I don't think he was a bust. I think he's been a great player for the Rangers. Maybe not as big as everybody thought he was going to be, but he's been there for them, and he hasn't given up. He's shown the spark. He's shown he's got talent. He's shown he's got the ability. I think, like you say, they just need to change some things up.
Want to know my take on that? So this is what I think. So you got to take Lafreniere was a goal scorer in the Q. He was the leading goal scorer in the Q, okay? So when they go from the Q to the NHL, it's totally different because in the Q, they're playing against teenagers, not grown men. So when Lafreniere came into the league, he really had to change his game. He was not going to be a goal scorer. And now I think he found his game because the Rangers turned him into a power forward. And that is his type of play style now. He's a bigger guy, and he does have the hands and the skills. But now since they turned him to a power forward, his progressions kind of drop, but you can see it starting to slowly pick back up because he's learning how to play with that bigger frame.
He did. You can see it's same thing with. You can see if you see pictures of him on his rookie year, the next year, and then up to here, he is a bigger frame. He's bulked up. He's become a bigger guy. He's not afraid to hit people anymore. He's always tried to hit, but it was like Bedard trying to hit Ovi. It's just like you're not going to do anything to anybody. But he's gotten bigger. He's gotten the size to actually muscle his way in there and hit people to be an impact. I think he's definitely become a better player than people thought he was going to be after his first 2 seasons. People thought, oh, he's a bust, get rid of him. The Rangers should get rid of him, start over. No, I think he's I think he's definitely worked cemented himself on that team now.
And like you could put it on the other foot for the Capitals, and that is Connor McMichael. He was not a goal scorer in the Q or wherever he played, and now he's turned into a goal scorer in the NHL. It's funny how they could be one thing in one level, and then next level they're a totally different thing.
I think also with McMichael, they didn't throw him right into the Capitals into the Caps. He was with the Bears. He played in the Bears. He bounced back up to the Capitals, played with the Bears. And I think that's one thing that a lot of teams don't do. There's some teams that use their AHL team, their affiliates, better than others. But I think recently, if you look at the Capitals and the Bears, there's look at what is it? Protus, McMichael, a couple. Oh God, I can't think of the other. Alexander Alexiev, but he's been injured. He was when he came. He was with the Caps, went back to the Bears, started his career with the Caps for a few games, went to the Bears. Look at the Hershey Bears. They've got 2 Calder Cups in a row. And the first one it seemed like a little bit of a fluke. The second one, they really got in there. And this year they were on fire. They have been looking great, and they've got players. The Caps have an injury. They have a good core of players to pull from the Bears to bring up. And since, like I say, McMichael, Protus, God, I can't think of the other 2 guys' names now. They've been playing. They played with the Bears. They were in the Bears organization, and they come up. And when the guys come up from the Bears, like Iorio, I always pronounce his name wrong. Oreo, whatever. Lapiniere. There's God, I can't think of the other guy's name now. When they come up to play with the Caps, they're not
Leonard.
Leonard just came over from college. He just got in from college, and he's been playing. He went straight from the Frozen Four, or Frozen, like the NCAA, right up to the Caps, and he's been playing great.
But 2 Frozen Four, they play against men.
Yeah, and they're playing against bigger. They're playing against not like 18, 19, 16, 17-year-olds. They're playing against there's some 19, 20-year-old, 19, 20, 21, some 22, maybe some 23-year-olds that are still playing, like they've got a later start in college hockey. They're playing with hard. And if you watch them, in my opinion, the college hockey is, I think you see a lot of better players come out of college hockey and go straight into the NHL than you do seeing some of the OHL, WHL, the QHL. Some of those guys that try and come up, they don't do as well. Then you have to go back to the AHL teams. But like the Bears, and also same thing with the goalie situation. Goalies, Bears have 2 good goalies, I'll argue with Shepard being a good goal. Shepard has his moments. He's good. He's hit and miss, in my opinion, but he can come up and he can fill in as a goalie for the Caps. That's one thing with the Caps. They've got so many, and they've got so much good core players that play together. Like I say, they go down. The younger guys that have played the Bears, when they come up, they've played with the guys already. Some of the guys already, so they know how they play. They've won, and so there's the argument that they've got experience in playoffs. They've won Calder Cups. They've got, some of these guys were in there. They've got 2 Calder Cups. It's like last year, the Calder Cup. Lapiniere was the MVP, the Calder Cup, and he won. Granted, I think he should get more time with the Caps, but unfortunately, in that position he's in the center, there's enough good players right now that he's not going to get up there yet. But I think if the Caps are unlucky, they may get some good trades and get him. He's probably going to get picked up. My opinion, going to get picked up by another team if he doesn't come up to the Caps. But go ahead.
A rule of mine, I think, and I think the NHL should do it. If we're getting drafted kids at 18, they should have to go to the AHL for a year before they come up to the NHL. Like, look at Quentin Byfield. He went straight after the draft right to the AHL, played 3 seasons in the AHL, and look at him now in the NHL.
Yeah. And I think for his the second season of his AHL, he was playing he had that 2-way contract where he would play. Someone was out, someone injured, he'd fill in, and he'd come play a game or two, and then go right back down. And that's what a lot of the Capitals players, the younger ones, they've been. And same with the Bears, they've been playing players back and forth. The Bears have some older players on the team, but they've got the Capitals. I think have learned to use their. I want to say their farm team, but their affiliates. They've learned to use it as a stepping stone to get these players ready to be full-fledged. I don't say full-fledged, but NHLers. So that they can when they hit the ice, they're not shocked and go, "Oh my gosh, this game is faster than I expected," or "This game is harder hitting." They know their role, and they know what role they should have with the team too.
Like I think still a lot of people don't know, but Quinn Byfield was a 2nd-round pick in the Lafreniere draft.
Yes, yeah, so, and I remember seeing him when he first watching a couple of the Kings games, and when he came up as he still technically was rookie, but it wasn't he's a full-time NHLer, and he looked good. He was still learning. He made mistakes. Any rookie's gonna make mistakes, but he was learning, and it doesn't hurt when you have some of the vets that the Caps have, or not the Kings have had, some of the veteran players the Kings had, to teach and to help those younger players learn and from.
Yeah. Julie has a question here. Julie says, if it pops up here, amazing how the Caps have been able to rebuild without rebuilding, but depends who are successful around the same time need a total rebuild.
I think that comes from their drafting and the way they treated their draft picks, and the AHL, having a good farm. I hate saying farm team because it's kind of sound like baseball, but having a good team to bring like your rookies, your drafts, your players up, bringing them up, playing at a good farm, like a team, to build them, to teach them, to get them better. Because nothing against the Pens organization, it's granted they're not like they work, they do put guys in there, they have them come up, but they're not as good of a team. The AHL, their AHL affiliate, I know they're Wilkes-Barre, the Wilkes-Barre Penguins. I don't know what their record was, but they weren't very good. They weren't as good. I don't say they weren't very good, but they weren't as good as I think they could have been if they'd maybe worked on using it as a better building block, like how LA and what is it? The Kraken, with Coachella Firebirds or whatever they are.
Yep.
They're another one that really has, because look, it was like the Bears. It was the last 2 Calder Cups were those 2 teams, the Kraken affiliate and the Caps affiliates. And the Kraken has worked great on trying to build that affiliate, to build them up so that they can have players go down and come up. And it's like, look at Shane Wright. He was one that was bouncing back and forth for a while, and he'd do good, have some issues, play a few games, go back to their AHL affiliate, and he brought back, and now he's pretty much a mainstay, one of their main, like same thing with the other rookie, same time, my brain just Beniers, Matty Beniers. He did the same thing. He didn't bounce back and forth as much. He cemented himself a little bit better with the Kraken line. But another example of them, an NHL team using their affiliate to build a player up and make them a better player to be a better NHLer. And if I
think just to touch on that point, I think Pittsburgh gave away a lot of their draft capital to help Crosby win as much as they could, because at the time when Crosby was going there, that Pittsburgh team was dropping till they got Crosby. Crosby kind of brought them back up to the mountain. But in doing so, Pittsburgh burned a lot of draft capital, lost a lot of good prospects in the long run as well. So now they have to really start all over again, which is going to be years and years before you see that team good again.
And they did that again. They did that recently, I think, to try and keep Crosby and build a team around him again. This last 2 seasons, they tried to bring some players players coming in and out, and they had some good young talent. There was what was it? One of the Joseph brothers. They had him, and he was looking like a good one. And if I remember correctly, they traded him for something. I don't know what they traded him for. That's kind of how bad it. Yeah. Yeah, he was there, and he's not. I don't know where he is. I can't remember where he went to, but they traded him away.
So they traded him away, and then
a good young player. And
they traded him away and traded him back for him.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was like, what was the point of that? Why did you even? Because it's not like it did anything. And I think doing that to some players, it messes with their confidence. So especially younger players. But I think that I don't know. I think that they're, like you say, the Pens, they've kicked themselves in the foot. Their goalie problem. They've ever since it's obvious ever since Fleury left, they haven't had this. It hasn't been the same in their goalie. They've been cycled through. They're kind of like Toronto and Toronto with their goalies. They've just been cycling through goalies and looking for a good one, and they haven't. And that's one position that's hard. It's hard for a lot of teams have had that issue in the last couple of seasons of not having a good goalie or looking for a good goalie. But
then Julie said Cap's also amazing to fit Pierre-Luc Dubois, who had been a problem everywhere else.
Yeah, that's one of those positions, the center, where I thought Henrik Lapierre with the Caps and the Bears organization, that was kind of his spot. I thought he was going to cement himself in there after this last season, but he still needed. I think he still needs a little bit of work. But he was one that I thought that's a good center. And then they brought PLD in, and he. I don't know.
PLD the diva.
I think they brought him into an area. They brought him into a place. There's a bigger diva, and he kind of was like, oh yeah. But he's cemented himself in that position with the Caps. He's just been he's been playing up on the top line with the top two. He was on the second line for a little bit with oh gosh, I forget who it is now. They're bounced, but there's the Caps. The off season, they had a great trades. They brought in a lot of really good players. Or I don't want to say they were good players at the time. People probably didn't think they were good players. It traded them away, and they've been spectacular. The Caps that PLD, Chikrin, Roy, all of them. Those three right there, there's top. The three of them have been amazing for the Caps and been their names are either on the score sheet or you're hearing their names at night setting somebody up or doing something when the Caps are playing.
What's going on, Trips? Thanks for coming in. Appreciate
What's
you.
up?
Tripaholic. So those are some pretty tough topics we just talked about. Julie, you missed the prediction, so you'll have to check that out. The Wild were mentioned quite a bit there, so definitely check that out on the replay. But yeah, I think the Caps, even when Ovi decides to go, I think they're going to be pretty well off.
Yeah, I am sad that this past season, because of injuries, you got Oshie and Backstrom didn't play at all. I was kind of sad, and there is possibility that both of them may end up retiring. I don't know. That's still up in the air. Oshi's still young enough that he could possibly come back, but I'm after missing a whole. It's same thing with Landeskog. He missed a whole season. Is he going to be the same when he comes back? I think Ovi or not. I think when Ovi leaves, it obviously there's two big names already in that locker room that are two big personalities, some big personalities in there. You got like with Oshie, if he comes back, Oshie, you got Carlson, a big one. He's always there, and then you got obviously the man that everybody loves to hate, Tom Wilson. Everybody loves to hate him. He's the guy that can handle the puck. He can throw a hit. He can agitate somebody. He can throw some fists, but he can handle the puck and he can break away. He's got speed, and people hate him, but you can't argue when he can do. If he wasn't on the Caps, I'd hate him. But since he's on the Caps, I love him. But
and the next future captain of that team
like
too.
Ovi, if Ovi Lee does go out, the Caps do have a good. Yeah, that's the. I think Ovi pretty much tapped it and said, "Hey, he's the guy. He's got the locker room already. I don't say he's got the locker room, but he's got that mentality. The hey, I can take care of this. I can do this." So.
And I mean, too, once he wears that C, you might see him turn down a little bit more. He might play more cautiously.
Yeah. It's like the perfect example of that one is Marchand.
Yeah.
He got the C. He still had that chip on his shoulder, but he toned it down a little bit, and then was it McAvoy and who was it in Boston? It also picked up kind of like, okay, he's kind of having to step up and kind of step away from more of the rough stuff. We'll step in and start to was it Trent Frederick?
Yeah.
He's another one that, like with the Boston, they stepped up and said, hey, he can't do this, so we're going to have to step it up and be that guy, that agitator, that guy who's going to poke the bear, kind of, so to speak, to get some movement, to get some action out of everything.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so that'll be good to see. Be good to see him get the C. Like I said, well deserved for that player.
Yeah.
And he's a dying breed. He is a typical power forward of the like Lindros era. The guy who can score, can pass, can skate, can hit. 200 foot. Like
there's a few of them. He can go end to end, throw and get the puck, race it down, take a shot, get back the other way, throw a hit, and keep going. That is a dying breed. There's not many. There's a few of them out there, but the sport is faster. Like everyone always says, especially with the whole Michigan. Oh, that shouldn't be in the game. It's going to ruin the game. Oh, well, not really. I think it shows an evolution of the game. The game is faster. The goalies are better, and you got to figure out a way to beat the goalie. If that's how you got to do it, the goalie. You look at goalies from the 80s and the 90s. They were good, but the goalies now, they're bigger. They're beefier. They're not just they're. I don't want to say they're flopper. They're not going to flop. They're actually good. You got to find a way to beat them. If that's how you got to beat them, that's how you got to beat them. And unfortunately, you do lose that. Go ahead.
I find the game now has been more innovative. Like players, even as a coach, players are starting to get more innovative on how they can score, or how they can pass. Like you see it from the younger levels starting to trickle up. And it's from watching like the Trevor Zegras, the Simon Milano. It's like that. But yeah.
Who is it? There's in all the what is it? The I can't remember the name of the kid. The guy who does all those tricks. There's one of those guys. The one guy who does all the puck handling tricks, juggles the puck on a stick.
Oh yeah, I
The
know who
kids
you
see
mean. I
that, like,
can't
I
think of
want to
his
do
name.
that. Yeah, there's people who are doing this crazy stuff, and then they're starting to bring it into the game. Like, hey, can I do this in the game? And like, can we flip the puck? Can we hit it? Like, you got. It seems like it's hitting more and more of the highlight reels. There's players chipping the puck on purpose in the air so that they can like knock it out of the air into the goal, like hit, not baseball swing on it, but basically like bunt it into the net. They're trying to do different things like that. It's you. If you can't just slap it and throw it at them to get it in the net, do something else to flip it up, do whatever you can to get it in there.
Yeah. Julie loves all the Showtime stuff. Dig said the evolution of equipment has changed. Yeah, the sticks are
Yeah.
so much lighter and flexible. That's where a lot of these
Mm.
power shots are starting to come through. Like even a wrist shot now is almost 105 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Because of these sticks.
You look at the stat every time there's a nice slap shot, a nice shot. They always pop up the miles per hour on the screen. And you're seeing consistently, you're seeing 80, 90, 80s, 90s, 80s, 100. Like, and it's not low 90s, it's 99, 98, 102, things like that. In game, they're slamming that. And who was it? One of the goalies recently said that I think it was Fleury. He said something about how the slap, like they're faster. The puck coming in at you faster than it was. He said 20. Heck, it seems like 20 years ago it was. You're only getting one or two guys sitting there getting them slamming that puck in there at 100 miles an hour. Now everybody's throwing them in there fast. So there's an evolution of it. It's definitely a big one.
Definitely, and the speed now. A lot of these skaters can go like 100 miles an hour on skates. So that's even scarier too.
And it's interesting, the breakaway. The players, the skaters you see, you're like, wow, I didn't realize he was that fast. A player you don't think has got speed. You're like, whoa, that guy just broke away, just blew past the defense. Like, wow, I didn't realize he could do that.
Yeah, it's insane. But yeah, so a little bit more about you. Tell us a little bit more about you. What got you into hockey? We know we were going to touch on that.
What got me into? It was honestly going to my first hockey game as a kid. I watched the first hockey game, and then I just constantly watched. Like, I would, because as a kid, I grew up in Florida. There was no hockey in Florida then. Now there's hockey in Florida, but then there was no hockey. And I moved north, and I went to my first hockey game, and just kind of went from there. And I enjoyed watching it. I'd try and sponge up every little bit of information I could. And then once the internet age hit in, it made it easier to get more information, learn more, see what's going on more with the games, because you get the newspaper, you get the one little blurb back page, maybe because it was local, being to Washington Capitals, you get the Capitals blurb, but you get the stats and the scores of just what happened, and then I'd start getting more and more, and I've just been, I don't know, it's been over time, just not to say my wife hates it, but when during the hockey season, I've got the computer going, I've got my phone going, I'm walking around the house just listening to the games, because I don't always because I'm doing stuff, I can't always sit in front of it, so I'm like, might as well just listen to it, throw the earbuds in, walk around the house listening to the game, and that's kind of just it's been I don't know how to say hockey. It's just I always love watching it. I'm horrible on skates. I can skate on ice. I am horrible. I can't stop. My stopping is running into the boards, and then I go, okay, I can turn around and go the other way. That's pretty much what it is. But it's I enjoy watching it. I've always enjoyed. As a kid, I played a lot of soccer. I still played soccer. I played soccer for years, but I enjoy soccer. Always like watching it, but hockey's my kind of my thing. I always like. I don't know. It's just. It's fast. It's hit. There's the hitting. There's the speed. There's just the excitement. It can easily go one way or the other. That's just how I got in. And then obviously being a Capitals fan, because my first hockey game I went to was a Caps Rangers games, and since I was in the Caps won, it made it even better. Sorry, Rangers, but and I just kind of took me off from there, and I don't know. That's kind of how I got into it. That's why I'm into hockey. I love hockey. It's fun, and
Awesome.
it's
Just to touch on that point, I think why a lot of people like hockey, and then they might not say it because they might not realize it. It's a lot of people use the word team, but if you really watch it, they are a family. They're together for almost a full year, and they don't see their families. So they're a family. So you got the different personalities like you would in a family. You got the crazy uncle. You got the protective father. You got the mother who's always going to nurture the younger kids. Like it's a family, and I think that's what really pulls a lot of people into it. They don't really know it because it's like it's there, but you just can't see. You're just seeing, oh, look at this player. He's sticking up for this player. But if you really picture it, it's a family, and that's what I use when I coach. We're not a team, we're a family.
Yeah. There's who's the player? It's the one Leonard. The Ryan Leonard is playing with the Capitals. He's staying with oh gosh, is it Chikrin? It's either Chikrin or Pierre-Luc Dubois. One of the two guys. He's like living with them while he's with the Capitals right now until he gets like his own place. And for the Islanders, there's a player. I forget who the player is now. I think it's Anders Lee was playing. I think Anders Lee, one of the guys, was living with one of the other guys while he was a rookie until he's like, it's a family. They take care of you. Like you say, these guys are with each other. Not only do they go around the country, a lot of them, they live together because one, they're how you teach the younger guys. You get them in there. You're going to go, hey, if you need a place to stay, you got a place here until you get yours. And then we're moving because it's not like I don't know where you work. I can drive you to work. Kind of one of those weird things. But yes, it is a good, I can see what you're saying by it's a family thing.
It really is.
Or not a family. They are a family.
Yeah. And then you can tell, like, we don't see the opposite side of what we see that goes behind the scenes. Like when a player gets traded, it hurts some of them because some of them could be super close with that player. To see that player go kind of hurts that team's morale a little bit more too, because that's part of your family member leaving and new family member coming in. So it's just like that. That's how I picture it, but that's my coaching mentality. That's how I see it as a coach. But yeah, you guys know you got some stuff you want to show.
You definitely have a different perspective.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Some stuff I've picked up and some stuff that's things in my collection that are why I kind of collect certain players. And also let me just see if I can flip this thing around here. Hold on a second. Let me get this set up. Hold on a second. I don't know. Is that working there for you? We good?
Yeah, you're backwards, but you're all right.
Backwards. Well, darn. Let me see if I can fix this thing. Hold on a second. Oh, yeah, it was working. It's being silly. It's not wanting to work. I'll just do it this way. You can see my ugly mug for a little bit longer. There we go.
Hold on, I'll put you on the bigger screen.
Okay.
That way you can see here. Bear with me one sec.
Oh, I'm tiny.
Come on, where are we at here? Bear with us. It's our first time doing the show, folks. Bear with us.
Yeah. Oop. Knocked a bunch of stuff over. Oh, well.
Come on, drag over.
I'm going that way. Or am I going that way?
You're
Sorry,
going
guys.
to the middle here once it drags over. There we go.
There we go. All right. Sorry, I kind of messed the things up there. One of the, if you can kind of see it, this is because I PC Sam Reinhart. This was actually the first, when I first got back into collecting hockey cards, because for a while I got out of them for a little bit, but I still always enjoyed hockey. But getting back in the hobby, the first box I opened up of hockey cards, I got Sam Reinhart autograph and the base card all in the same pack. And so I was like, let's look up who this guy is. And I kind of looked him up, and that's kind of where I started collecting and following Sam Reinhart's career. So that's kind of why I got into, he's one of my main PC guys. And also, I may or may not be a closet Sabres fan. I kind of follow, I've been ever since Hasek. I kind of, hence why I always rip on.
I think everybody's a Sabres fan because I think they all want to see the Sabres eventually be good.
Yes. I want to see them relive the 90s, basically, because the 90s, they were an amazing team. Oh, gosh. I got to pull this one out of the... I was probably going to glare like crazy in the sleeve in this one. I picked this one up recently. I've always wanted the Lemieux graded card, and I found it for a pretty good price. So I have... It's actually the Chrome... It's a PSA 8, so it's not a super expensive one, but it's the Chrome. I don't know if this is going to work right. Here we go. When Topps still had the could do hockey cards, was granted. So it's in 2001 Topps Chrome Mario Lemieux. It's the kind of the retro of the, what is it? The 90s, 1990 cards.
Nice.
No, not 90s. That was something I picked up recently. I always wanted a Lemieux card, and I saw it for a pretty good price. And I was like, that's actually a really cool card. Something else I picked up recently. Haven't done a pickup video in a while, so I figured I might as well throw some of the songs I picked up. I know a bunch of people are going to go, why'd you pick him up? But he was a Caps player. I always liked him as a Caps player. He has his issues, but we'll just leave that out of there. Kuznetsov. Evgeny Kuznetsov. I picked up an auto, Sign of the Times auto of him. I know a lot of people probably like, yeah, he's got his issues, but I always thought he was a great player. Sorry to hear his issues. I knew he's got his issues, but hopefully he's getting himself straightened out and everything. Cause I think his official suspension from the NHL is up, so he could technically come back to play in the NHL. I don't know, but I doubt he will. And then, cause everybody always wants a McDavid rookie card. I've got my only McDavid rookie card I will ever own, probably, because I'll never be able to afford one. It's from Profiles. I pulled it. It's the only one I've ever pulled of him. So that's kind of my only. That's something I've just had in my collection. I don't know. I may do something with it one day, but I at least I can say I have a McDavid rookie card. And that is where that is. Those are just kind of the things I have to show tonight.
Awesome.
I've got some other stuff I'm going to open up sometime soon, but I got a bunch of different things for comic cards I've picked up recently that I'm going to try and do some videos of in the future. And then
awesome.
if Goza is still around, this one actually, I have this one. This is one of my few hockey jerseys I've got. I wanted to kind of throw this out there. So it's one of the few hockey jerseys I have. It's from the All-Star game, from 2000 All-Star game, when they did the whole North America versus Europe.
Oh, nice.
I don't know so this was one of my few hockey jerseys I have. I figured I'd show that one out. Give a little shout out to Goza and his jersey collection. So
it's awesome.
Other than that, I don't have anything else really special. It's just kind of trying to enjoy something, throw a few things out there and throw what little bit of knowledge I have out there of the game.
It's awesome. And guys, make sure you go check out his channel. It's in the description. You can click on it. Go sub him up. He's only at, I think, what, 100 something, maybe 200 now.
100 and oh gosh, I looked at it recently. I'm 150. I want to say it was 153, 154 subs.
Let's get him to 200.
I'm not going to argue if you guys can get me to 200. That'd be awesome. I would like more. You always like the more subs, but I enjoy part of what I do with this is I enjoy just sharing what I pull, what I do, my hobby, my enjoyment of the hobby. That's just basic. That's why I started why I started the channel in the first place. Is I figured I'm pulling these cards and nobody's getting to see them. Let's open them up in front of other people. So let everyone else see the hobby. So
that's awesome.
See if I miss out or get something really cool. Like I've had some really cool, pulled some cool autos and some stuff like that in here. So
that's awesome. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. So if anybody wants to join, they can join us for a little bit here. Because I got an announcement I'm going to be making. We usually close the show out with the guests, but tonight I'm going to do it a little bit differently. So it is with great sadness. If none of you have watched Tim's live last Wednesday, but this is the last show of Hockey Stick Talk Nation. And it is with great sadness I say that, but life is getting in the way right now, and it's getting harder for me to do these on a weekly basis. So I'm stepping away. I'll still be on YouTube. I'll still be doing videos, but there'll be no more lives. But I will put up a poll. So I'm going to leave it to fate. So I'm going to put up a poll probably tonight, and it's going to be yes or no. And if we get a lot of yeses, and the majority of them is 95, I will keep this going for all you guys. But I'm going to put the poll up some point this week, and it's going to be into fate deciding. So I just want to get that out there. It's been a hell of a ride. I'd like to thank all you guys, all the great guests I had. Christopher Works, who unfortunately could be the last guest on the Hockey Stick Talk Nation, and we were talking a little bit about that backstage. So
yeah,
it was a fun night. We went almost 2 hours, so it's been great. I hope you guys enjoyed all the great talks we had, and the chat was really pumping and engaging tonight, which is great to see.
Thank
you. Make sure you check him out. Like I said, I won't be leaving. I'll be around, so you'll see videos. They just might be like once a month, maybe once every 3 weeks or something like that. I can't promise anything, but like I said, I'll drop a poll here this week, and it'll be up to fate to decide whether you guys like the show or you don't. And please vote fairly. Don't just vote it for the sake of it. I want you guys to be fair. I did this show for all of you guys. It wasn't for me. It was for all the hockey fans, all the card fans, all the fans in general. So I just want to thank each and every one of you who are in the chat. And I know that I have been watching you guys. I have been liking you. I just haven't been able to comment due to my busy schedules. But thank you, Christopher. It was a blast.
Thank you. It's been a blast. It's been a great night, and I just got to say this out there. Your Friday nights have been kind of my thing. I always enjoy listening to you. The guests, the people we have on have been great. It's just Friday nights. If it doesn't happen anymore, I understand life gets in the way. I've got 3 kids, so I kind of know life kind of throws monkey wrench at you. I'll miss it, but it's been great. It's been great, and thank you for this opportunity for me to throw out my opinions and feelings on the sport. So thank you.
No problem, buddy. And it was great that it all worked out after Obi scored his breaking goal.
Yes.
That's what we were kind of hoping for when we did this.
Yeah.
But So it was
Yeah.
been great. Always great when we get together and chat. I know you've been on a few of my lives, and it's always fun.
Yes.
This was your first live of being spotlighted.
Just spotlighting me. Yes. Thank you again. This has been awesome. I just can't thank you enough. It's been a great night. It's been, like I say, I'm glad I've been able to just take the time to spew my little bit of knowledge and my opinions on the sport. So thank you.
You're welcome. And you know what? Since this is the last time, Christopher, why don't you take us out like you would if you were closing out your video?
If I was closing out my videos, I'd say thank you guys. Let me know what you think, and we'll catch you next time. Have a good one.
Later, folks. And the link's there. If anybody wants to jump backstage with us for a few minutes, feel free. Till then, This is Dan. That's Chris. And we thank you guys for watching us on this wonderful Friday night. And maybe we'll see you. All depends on you guys. So, later.
Later.